A rich man was going to open his big new office. But outside the gate, he saw an old woman begging. Then he looked again, and his heart stopped. He knew her, but how did she end up like that, and what would he do next? Stay with me, and let's see how this story unfolds. Dear wonderful viewers, if you enjoy the stories we share here, please support us by hitting the subscribe button. Now, let's step right into the story. A new glass building stood tall in one of the busiest industrial parts of Lagos. It was the headquarters of Dave Technologies Limited. The project had just been completed. Today was its official launch. It stood in the middle of other glass buildings, all rising high and shining under the morning sun. Offices, companies, and big businesses filled the area, each one trying to stand out. But this one drew the most attention. Down below, everything was in order. The event was set up outdoors, right in front of the building. Large canopies were arranged neatly, giving shade to the invited guests. Important people sat in rows under them, talking in low voices as they waited. At the center, a raised podium stood ready, with microphones set in place for the speeches that would follow. Expensive cars drove in one after another. Men in suits stepped out, adjusting their suits. Women in fine dresses walked with care, holding their expensive bags and smiling for the cameras. Cameras clicked again and again. "Welcome, sir." "Good morning, Ma." "Please, this way." The voices of the protocol officers were polite and smooth. A short distance away from the busy event, a black Land Cruiser SUV moved steadily toward the venue, escorted by a security truck. Inside the Land Cruiser SUV, at the back seat, sat a man in a well-fitted suit. The man was Mr. Dave, the owner and CEO of the multi-million Dave Technology Limited, tech company launching its headquarters that day. Beside him was his personal assistant. The man looked down at his wristwatch. Then he sighed slightly. "We are running late. Please move faster," he said calmly. "Yes, sir," the driver replied. He leaned back in his seat. For a moment, he said nothing. His mind drifted. To the world, he was a success story, a man people looked up to. But his story did not start like this. Dave was not born poor. He was not born rich either. His family had enough. There was always food at home, clean clothes to wear, school fees were paid on time. His parents worked hard and gave him a good life, but they were not wealthy people. They believed in one thing: education. When Mr. Dave was still young, they sent him abroad to study. It was not easy for them, but they made it happen. While he was in school, Mr. Dave did not just study. He spent long nights on his laptop building simple applications and creating websites for people as a side hustle. Then one day, something changed. Mr. Dave came up with an idea for a social media application. He worked on it day and night, writing code, debugging, improving every small detail. When he finally launched the app, it did not get much attention at first. Only a few people tried it. But over time, the app began to gain traction. It became popular. That was when it caught the attention of a big tech company, a very big one. They reached out to him. Meetings were set. Offers were made. They wanted his app. There were many discussions with his lawyers involved, many back and forth. In the end, Mr. Dave agreed to sell. That one decision changed his life. The money he received was more than he had ever imagined. Millions of dollars. But he did not stop there. He returned to the country after his graduation, and he used that money to build his own tech company. His name grew. His company grew. And now, after years of work, he was launching his own headquarters. Now, as his vehicle approached the company gate, Mr. Dave looked out through the window. Then he paused. His eyes stayed fixed on something. Outside the gate sat an elderly woman. Her clothes were worn out. Her body looked frail. She sat close to the gate, holding a plastic bowl in her hand as she begged. But something about her face. It felt familiar. Very familiar. In that moment, a memory flashed through his mind. A younger version of himself, a quiet house, and a woman who cared for him when no one else did. A woman who gave him warmth, who listened to him, who stayed with him. When his parents were always busy at work, she was the one who got him ready for school, made sure he ate properly, helped him with his schoolwork, and read bedtime stories to him before he slept. His parents were both civil servants who were focused on their jobs and barely had time to take care of their child, so they hired a nanny who cared for him like her own. His eyes widened slightly. "It can't be," he said under his breath. He lowered the window and leaned forward. "Stop the car," he said quickly. The driver was surprised. "Sir, stop the car now," Mr. Dave repeated. The car stopped just before the gate. Before anyone could say anything, Dave opened the door and stepped out. His PA looked confused as Mr. Dave walked toward the woman. He stopped a few steps away from her. His voice was low but filled with shock as he called out to her, "Auntie Lebechi." The woman slowly lifted her head. She looked at him. Her eyes searched his face. Then they widened. Her lips trembled. "Dave," she said, her voice shaking. Dave stood close to her now. There was no distance left between them. His eyes stayed on her face. Not in doubt anymore, but in pain. "Auntie Lebechi," he said again, his voice low and heavy. "What happened to you?" She did not answer at once. She just looked at him. "Why are you here like this?" he asked. "Why are you looking this tattered, sitting here alone with a bowl in your hand, begging for help?" The woman lowered her eyes. Her fingers tightened around her plastic bowl. She started, but her voice failed her. Mr. Dave's face tightened. "Auntie, talk to me," he said gently. "What went wrong? Where have you been all these years?" She took a slow breath. Her shoulders dropped slightly. "It has not been easy," she said quietly. Dave shook his head. "But how did it get to this point?" he asked. You were very strong and hardworking." The woman gave a faint, tired smile. "Life happened," she said. Dave did not accept that. "No," he said softly. "This is more than that." He looked at her again, at her clothes, at her weak hands, at the way she was sitting. The woman looked up at him again. Before she could speak, Dave gently raised his hand. "It's okay," he said softly. "You don't have to rush." He took a slow breath, then looked at her more carefully. "Auntie Lebechi, listen to me," he continued. "Everything will be fine." She stared at him, unsure. "I won't let you continue like this," he added. "Not anymore." "I have to join the event," he said gently. "Everyone is waiting for me." He turned to his car and gestured for his PA to come. The PA came forward quickly. "Yes, sir." Dave pointed gently toward Auntie Lebechi. "Take her inside," he said. "Find her a good seat under the canopy. Make sure she's comfortable." "Yes, sir," the PA replied. "Get her food," Dave continued, "and something to drink. After the event, give her some money," he added. "Yes, sir. And also tell the driver to take her home. Find out exactly where she stays." Dave looked back at the woman. "I will see you tomorrow," he said. She looked at him, still overwhelmed, her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she said softly. Dave nodded once. Then, slowly, he stepped back. He turned and walked toward the event. His PA stayed beside Auntie Lebechi. "Please come with me," the PA said gently. The woman hesitated for a moment, then followed. Inside the event area, the PA found her a seat under the canopy. Guests turned slightly, noticing her presence, but no one said anything. "Sit here," the PA said. Auntie Lebechi sat down slowly. A plate of food was brought to her. "Please eat," the PA said. The woman looked at the food for a moment, then nodded. "Thank you," she said. She began to eat slowly, carefully, like someone who had not eaten a well-prepared food in a long time. After a while, the PA returned with a drink. "Here," she said. The woman collected the drink gratefully. "God bless you," she whispered. When she finished eating, the driver took the woman home as Mr. Dave had instructed, so he could know exactly where she stayed. Later that night, Dave sat in the back seat of his SUV. The car moved quietly through the night. He leaned back, but his mind was not at rest. All he could see was her face, and all he could think about was what he would do next. Tomorrow could not wait. The next morning came. Mr. Dave sat in his living room. He was just sitting, thinking. After a moment, he called out for the driver. The driver came in quickly. "Yes, sir." Mr. Dave looked at him. "Do you remember the woman you dropped off yesterday?" he asked. "Yes, sir," the driver replied. "Good. Go and pick her up now. Tell her I would like to see her." "Yes, sir," the driver said. He turned and left immediately. Mr. Dave remained seated. He looked out through the window. His face was calm, but his mind was not. "What could have happened?" he said quietly to himself. He leaned back slightly. His thoughts kept going back to the same place. Her face, her voice, the way she looked. He shook his head slowly. "This should not have happened," he said. After some time, the gate opened. The driver returned. The woman stepped out of the car slowly. She looked up at the building. Her eyes widened. "This house looks beautiful," she whispered. She held her wrapper tightly and followed the driver inside. The door opened. The woman stepped into the living room. She stopped. Everything around her looked new, clean, bright. She looked surprised, almost unsure if she should step further. "Auntie Lebechi," Dave called gently. She turned quickly. When she saw him, she smiled faintly. "Dave," she said. Mr. Dave stood up at once and walked toward her. "Please come and sit," he said. He guided her carefully to a chair. "Sit here," he added softly. She sat down slowly, still looking around. Mr. Dave called out for the maids. "Please bring her some cold juice," he said. "Yes, sir," the maid replied. The woman looked at him again. "You don't have to stress yourself," she said quietly. Mr. Dave shook his head. "It is not stress," he said. The maid returned with a glass of juice and handed it to her. "Thank you," the woman said. Mr. Dave turned to his maid. "Please set the table for breakfast," he said. When the table was set, he stood up and gently led the woman to the dining area, and they began eating. After a few moments, Mr. Dave cleared his throat and looked at her with concern. "Auntie Lebechi," he began, his voice calm but full of concern. She looked up at him. "What happened? How did life bring you to this point?" The woman sighed. "It was after you traveled," she said. "When you went abroad for your studies." She paused. Her eyes dropped for a moment. "Your parents said there was no longer any need for me in the house. They said you were grown and I had done my part." She gave a small nod. "They gave me a good amount of money so I could start something for myself. I was thankful. I really was." Her face softened for a moment. "I used the money to start a small grocery shop," she continued. "It was not big, but it was mine. I sold food items. I worked every day." Mr. Dave leaned forward slightly. Then her voice became slower. "But one night, there was a fire." She paused. "It burned everything," she said quietly. "My shop, my goods, everything I'd worked for." Dave said nothing. He just listened. "I tried to start again," she continued. "I looked for small jobs, anything I could do." She shook her head slowly. "But it was not steady. Some days I found work. Some days I did not." She looked up at him again. "I did not plan for my life to become like this," she said. "I kept trying, but things kept going wrong." There was a silence. Mr. Dave's face was serious now. He took a breath. "What about your child?" he asked. "Why could he not help you?" The woman nodded slowly. "After my son got married, I stayed with his family for a while. At first, everything seemed fine, but slowly, things began to change. His wife did not like me. She started speaking against me to my son. Little by little, she influenced my son's mind against me. My son, who once loved and respected me, began to change. He became distant, then cold, and over time, Distance became resentment. One day, everything fell apart. His wife made an allegation against me. It was not true, but my son believed her. That same day, he asked me to leave his house. Just like that, I became homeless. Life became very difficult after that. Since then, I have been struggling daily. Some days I go out to look for small jobs, she said. If I do not find any, I have to beg so I can eat. Mr. Dave closed his eyes briefly. That part hit him deeply. When he opened them again, his voice had changed. It was softer. From today, things will change, he said. She looked at him. You will not go back to that life, he added. Her eyes searched his face. Are you sure? She asked softly. Yes, Mr. Dave replied. I'm sure. He paused, then continued. I want you to stay here with me for now, while I arrange everything properly for you. The woman hesitated. This place? She said. Mr. Dave gave a small, calm smile. You took care of me when I was small. Now it is my turn. She looked at him. Her eyes filled with tears. Auntie Lebechi suddenly shifted her chair back. Dave, thank you so much, she said softly as she was about to kneel down. But Dave reacted quickly. He stood up at once. No, Auntie Lebechi, he said. He stretched his hand to stop her immediately. Please don't do that, he added. He carefully held her arm and guided her back to her seat. Don't ever do that again, he said, looking at her with care. You don't need to kneel to me. Auntie Lebechi looked up at him, still emotional. I didn't know how else to thank you, she asked quietly. He leaned back slightly, his mind already working, thinking, planning, looking for a solution. Because now, this was no longer just her problem, it was something he had decided to fix. Days passed. Lebechi had begun to relax and get used to the house. She ate well. She slept well. Her body was slowly getting stronger. One afternoon, Mr. Dave sat with her in the living room. The room was quiet. Soft light came in through the window. Dave looked at her. Auntie Lebechi, he said gently. She looked up. Yes, Dave? He leaned forward slightly. Auntie Lebechi, he said gently. I've been thinking about your situation. At your age, I don't think this is the time for you to be starting a business all over again from scratch. She looked at him quietly. So I have decided something, he continued. It will be better if I place you on a monthly upkeep. That way you will not stress yourself again. Auntie Lebechi's eyes widened slightly. For a moment she could not speak. Then she quickly shook her head. Dave, my son, she said softly. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're a good man. She paused, her voice becoming more emotional. But you are right. I'm in my retirement age. Dave listened carefully. Auntie Lebechi continued. I would still love to do something, she said slowly, even if it is small. I don't want to just sit at home. I want to remain active. If I don't do anything, I may become weak or even fall sick. Dave looked at her for a moment. Then he nodded gently. All right, he said. I understand you. A small smile appeared on his face. I will help you set up something light and easy, he added. Something you can manage without stress and still remain active. But it will not affect your monthly upkeep. Auntie Lebechi's face lit up immediately. Dave, she said, her voice shaking. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you, my son. She placed her hands together in gratitude. You have done more than enough for me, she said. Your kindness reminds me of your father. I hope they return to the country soon. I have missed them so much. Dave shook his head slowly. I'm only doing what is right, he replied. Auntie Lebechi continued thanking him again and again, her voice full of relief and happiness. And for the first time in a long while, she smiled from deep within her heart. Then Dave stood up to leave. He stepped out and entered the back seat of his car. The door closed. The car began to move. Dave looked out through the window. His face was calm, but his mind was active. After a moment, he picked up his phone and made a call. "Hello," he said. "Good morning, sir," his PA replied. "I need you to start making arrangements," Dave said. "Yes, sir. I want a house, a good one, safe, comfortable, not too far from here." "Yes, sir. And also, find a good shop space, somewhere good for a grocery business." "I understand, sir." "I don't want delays," Dave said. "Handle it quickly, but do it properly." "Yes, sir. I will start immediately." Dave ended the call. He leaned back, his eyes still on the road outside. Everything was already in motion. Time passed, and slowly, things began to change. Mr. Dave did not forget his promise. He acted on it. A few weeks later, he called Auntie Lebecci into the living room. He told her he had something to show her. She did not understand what he meant, but she followed him. Quietly, trusting him, they walked to his car. He opened the door for her himself. She got in. The car drove out of the compound. After some time, they arrived at another place. A quiet compound. Clean, peaceful. At the center of it stood a house. Simple, strong, beautiful. Mr. Dave stepped out first. Then he walked around and opened the door for her. He helped her step down gently. Auntie Lebecci looked around in confusion. She did not understand what was happening. She turned to him and asked what they were doing there, and that was when Mr. Dave told her the truth. The house was hers. At first, she could not believe it. She stood still, her hands shaking, her eyes searching his face, as if she wanted to be sure she heard him correctly. Then he placed the key in her hand, and in that moment, it became real. Tears filled her eyes immediately. She broke down, not from pain, but from relief, from gratitude, from a heart that had suffered for so long. She thanked him over and over again, but Dave only looked at her calmly and told her it was nothing. Then he showed her something else. He pointed to the side of the compound. A car stood there, clean, ready, waiting. It was hers too, for her movement, for her comfort. And he assured her that she would not worry about driving because he would provide a driver for her. They walked into the house together, and as she moved from room to room, looking, touching, taking it all in, it felt like a dream, a life she never thought she would live again. She kept thanking him, again and again, but Dave said very little, because to him, this was not a favor. It was something he believed she deserved. After a while, he told her he had to leave. But before going, he told her something important, that he would return the next morning because there was still one more thing, one more surprise waiting for her. The next day came, and just as he said, he returned. He picked her up again, and they drove out together. This time they arrived at a different place, a busy area, lively, active, people moving around, and right there was a grocery store, clean, well-arranged, in a perfect location. Auntie Lebecci looked at it carefully. She was confused again until Dave placed another key in her hand and told her this one too was hers. He reminded her of her own words, that she wanted to stay active, that she did not want to sit idle. And so he gave her something to do, something she understood, something that would keep her going. And even with that, he made it clear, her monthly upkeep would still continue. This was not a replacement. It was a gift of purpose. At that moment, she could not hold back her tears again. She held the key tightly, and all she could ask was, "All this for me?" And the answer was simple. Yes. That evening, she returned to her new home, a real home, warm, peaceful, full of life. She sat down quietly, thinking, smiling, letting everything sink in. For the first time in a long time, she was not afraid of tomorrow. She was not thinking about survival. She was not worried about food. For the first time in years, Auntie Lebechi felt something she had almost forgotten: peace. In the end, this story leaves us with a simple but powerful truth. Kindness should never be forgotten, and the people who once stood by us should never be ignored when life changes. Success means little if we lose touch with those who helped shape our journey. Sometimes the smallest act of care can come back to change a life in the biggest way. What do you think about this story? I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comment section below. Also, stay tuned. There's another captivating story coming your way in just a few days. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it when it drops. If this story touched you in any way, please give this video a like and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching.